bees give us some good products that can be stored longer than other farm produce such as milk and eggs. One of the main products is honey. Honey is a natural food with many health benefits.
Asali ni nzuri kwa watu wazima na kwa watoto kwa sababu
honey is good for both adults and children because it is food for both. Second, it is medicinal. It can treat common colds, coughs, congested chest, and even stomach problems.
Na kifua kufungana na hata kutengeneza ni tumbo.
Andrew Makau from Kikapu village in Kenya has a lifelong experience in honey production and processing. He likes the honey business because he does not need to invest a lot of money and labor, and bees give additional products.
When processing honey, there are other products that I get. I get wax from processing the leftover combs after all the honey has been dripped out. I have equipment to process the wax, and once processed, I sell it.
Traditionally, honey was sold in the comb, but nowadays most consumers prefer honey that is extracted from the comb. This processed honey is clean and ready to use and can be stored over a longer period of time. To ensure that honey keeps its quality, you have to respect the 3 basic rules as Andrew will show in this video. 1. Harvest only honey that is mature. 2. Maintain high hygienic standards during harvesting and processing. 3. Ensure that all equipment and packaging containers are clean and dry. First, let us find out more on honey harvesting. During rainy season, there are many flowers from which bees collect nectar to make honey. Honey is mature 2 to 3 months after the onset of rains. At sunset, Andrew heads off to the bush where he keeps his beehives. At this time of the day, the bees are less active and it helps to avoid neighbors getting stung by the bees. To protect himself from the bees when collecting honey, Andrew uses protective clothing. In order to get good quality honey, all harvesting and processing equipment, such as buckets, should be clean and dry.
Honey is clean and pure. Even the bees maintain high standards of hygiene in their hives. So we must maintain cleanliness when handling honey. More so, honey is food, something that we eat. We must ensure very high hygienic standards.
Collect only pieces of sealed and undamaged honeycombs. Sealed combs contain mature honey. Mature honey contains less water and can be kept for a longer time. Avoid harvesting unsealed combs as these contain immature honey or pollen. After the honey is harvested, Andrew starts processing it immediately after returning home when the combs are still warm and the honey separates more easily from the combs. Here, he is collecting the honeycombs that were kept in a closed bucket overnight. So let us pay careful attention to the different steps. First, brush the combs to remove the bees that remained on the combs during harvesting. Put the bees in a bucket. Separate end sections of unsealed combs. These contain immature honey that has a lot of water, which will quickly spoil the honey. Put the pieces of unsealed combs in another bucket. Also, remove these parts of the combs that contain a lot of pollen, as this will make the honey cloudy and reduce its quality and value. From the good pieces of combs, Andrew extracts the honey in a simple and fast way.
I process honey through cleaning and crushing the combs. I crush them so that honey can drip out. Once I have crushed the combs, I place them in a perforated bucket to allow honey to drip out.
The perforated plastic bucket is the first step of sieving. It is placed over a larger bucket to collect the dripping honey. Andrew covers the buckets with a black plastic bag, which he ties with a rubber band so that the heat does not escape. He places the buckets in the sun for at least 3 hours, depending on the quantity of honey to be processed and the intensity of the sun. As the honey drips out of the combs, Andrew goes off to do other activities. Once the honey has dripped out, he takes the containers inside to sieve the honey further while it is still warm.
I use 3 sieves to ensure that all the particles are removed from the honey. In case any particles escape from the first sieve, they will be captured in the second sieve. By the time the honey goes through the third sieve, it will be very clean.
After sieving, pack the honey immediately. If left in the open, honey absorbs a lot of water from the air and will ferment like beer and spoil quickly. For the same reason, all equipment and containers must be dry.
It is a must that all equipment from processing honey is dry. If it is not dry, water makes honey to ferment. That is why I dry the equipment completely, including the containers that I use. Honey should not get into contact with water at all.
It is preferable to pack honey in transparent glass or plastic bottles so that the clients can see its quality. Andrew sells his honey in containers of different sizes so to meet the demand of different customers.
Wakati wanatumia huwa mwenye atataka wakati asali wakati mwingine anarudisha huwa anarudisha.
I usually request my customers to bring back the used bottles for reuse when they come back for more honey. This helps me because buying new bottles is expensive. Whenever a customer returns a used bottle, I give him or her a discount.
After washing and thoroughly drying the small containers, he refills them with honey. Almost all honey will become solid when it's cold. There's no difference in nutritional value between solid and liquid honey. As long as honey is processed under hygienic conditions, you will be able to store it for a long time. But honey is not the only product that gives farmers a benefit. Even more money can be made from the leftover combs.
There's a way I process wax. Once I've sieved out the honey, I boil the leftover combs and melt them completely. Once molten, I use equipment that I've improvised to compress it. What comes out is wax.
The wax will become solid completely after 24 hours and float on water. It can then be sold. So what have we learned? Honey production requires little money and effort and gives a good profit. Harvest only honey that is mature. Remove honey from combs as quickly as possible after harvest. Maintain good hygienic standards during harvesting and processing. Pack the honey in transparent containers. Make sure they are clean and dry. Good quality honey will always find a market. So think honey and make money.